Hello and welcome to Digital DJ Tips, where today we're looking at the Crossfade M-100 headphones. These are kind of the top end headphone. They're about $299. And to review these, I thought I would actually look again at a pair of headphones that I've really enjoyed using and I've DJed with a lot, which are these. These are the Crossfade LP2 headphones. Now, both sets of headphones are similar. They're from a company called V-Moda, and they are, design-wise, they look, at first glance, they look pretty much identical. These ones are about $189. As I say, I've used these ones a lot. That I find them very comfortable. They've got a lot of bass. The sound quality is perfect. I mean, perfect. They sound amazing. But they are bass heavy, and I have a colleague who finds them too bass heavy. But you know, I think they're really up there with the best as far as sound goes. They're very comfortable. They've got pretty shallow foam, but it kind of bends to fit, and the comfort factor is huge. They isolate well for the amount of pressure they put on your ears. But the thing that's really stood these in good stead with me, and that's meant that I've used them for a long time, is just the construction quality. They're all metal. This is a metal section here. They've got these plates. Actually, I've changed them. You get these plates with the Crossfade LP2s. Just everything about them is quality. There's nothing on them that's worn or broken, or nothing's gone wrong with them. I've been using them for months. What I didn't like about these is they come with this Kevlar cable. You get another one which doesn't have the iPhone bits and pieces on it. But there's no coiled cable in the box with the LP2s. And as a DJ, I prefer to use a coiled cable. I like to have that as my choice. But overall, they're really nice, and I've very much enjoyed using those. So the M100s then, take another look at these before we move on to the M100s. Because they're very, very similar. Actually, I'm keeping you teasing. I'm teasing you here, aren't I? Look at the case. This is the case for the LP2s. Okay, it's quite big, isn't it? And that's one of the big differences, because the M100s fit in this really cute tiny case that can just, I mean, it's small enough to hang on your belt. So let's have a look at them. So here they are. This is the M100s. They have still got the hexagonal shape here. They appear almost identical. You can see that they've come from the same school of design, but there are a couple of big differences. The first big difference, and the most important one, is that the company has now fitted a extremely sturdy, spring-driven hinge there. And that just means that they can now fold away nice and small, which makes them far more practical for the DJ. The other ones are big, they don't really fold away at all, and therefore they're not as easy to carry around. This is very practical. You know, if a headphone doesn't fold flat this way, it should at least fold into its own band. And actually, they're one of the better examples of that working well that I've seen. So that's one big difference. The second big difference is, let me get the LP2s back again. So these have got a single hole, socket I think is the proper word, for the lead. Okay, so these have got two, one here and one here. These are actually chunkier than the nice, you know, subtle one on there, and I prefer the socket on the LP2s actually. This is a big chunky socket. I don't really see the reason for it. But nonetheless, this has got two. So that immediately means you can put them on the left or right, put the lead on the left or right, depending on what suits you. But also, there's kind of like a feature that's been included on these that is part of what they're calling crowdsourced. They're saying that they talked to lots and lots of DJs and other people about what would be included on the ideal pair of headphones, and this thing kept coming up. And that is, they give you another lead as well as this this rather nice orange one, which has got a second lead coming off it, like a splitter, so you can plug another person if you like, into the headphones. So you can have a kind of tag team on whatever's going on in the headphones, which apparently is going to be useful if you've got DJs playing back to back and that kind of thing. I can see that. It's not something I'd use, but so there's that development there as well. And the third change here is the sound quality, which I find, I mean, like I say, the other ones, I can't fault them. I think they're fantastic. And these, again, I can't fault it. The bass is probably a little bit tamer on these. It's a little bit more defined. So my friend who found the other ones a bit overwhelming in the bass department would probably like these better. Having said that, to me, it still has that kind of warm, bassy feel to it, as opposed to a completely flat. It's just so subjective headphone sound, so I really don't want to just kind of like warble on about what they sound like, other than they sound marvellous. So the things I don't like about these, apart from the bit I've pointed out here, that these are just a little bit chunky, I just find these bits a little bit ugly, is that they don't provide the face plates that you can change, which come for free with the old ones. See, I've got these shiny face plates on here. You can actually order them and you can get them engraved and stuff with your DJ logo. Lots of people have done that, but they don't provide them with the more expensive ones for some reason. So, you know, if you want that, you've got to order it as a separate kit. But the big thing that's the same with the LP2s, is that they don't provide you with a DJ cable. Now, this cable has got a one-button iPhone control device thing there with all the functions on you'd expect, but there's no DJ cable. Now, I spoke to the company about this, and they were quite adamant that DJs ought to use a cable that is straight. This is Kevlar covered, straight. They should use a straight cable. They said they've made their cable exactly the right length for the DJ booth, and that DJs are saying things like, you know, the coiled cable can dangle on your controls and accidentally set stuff off. I don't buy any of that. I think a coiled cable is the correct cable to use when you're DJing. A coiled cable, and there's some really wonderful ones out there, some really lightweight ones. A coiled cable will just keep yourself out of the way when you're stood right near your gear. And if you need to move away to take a request, or to you know, grab a drink that's on a table far away, which is where your drinks should be when you're DJing, the cable just gracefully expands and moves back again. You'll never convince me that a straight cable is better than a coiled one for DJing. Also, there's two cables that come with this. There's this one that has the iPhone gubbins on it that you don't want when you're DJing, and the other one that has the dangly bit on it for plugging in another set of headphones. Neither of them are ideal. So from a DJ's point of view, you will need to order the optional coiled cable if that's what you're used to. Overall, these are wonderful. Overall, I can't fault them. They sound great, maybe even a little bit better than the LP2s. That is the big thing, because now they will fold into a really nice, one of the smallest cases for headphones of this class that I've seen, and it's a really sturdy case. There's no way they're going to get damaged in there. So they're insanely practical, they sound wonderful. You only need one pair of headphones in your life if you buy these, because they're wonderful for street, wonderful for the gym, wonderful for listening at home, extremely comfortable, but also they're completely up for it for DJing. The isolation from these pads is as good as it was on the LP2s, which means very good. They're not like, you know, like some Dr. Dre's or some Bose headphones where you put batteries in them and it kicks in an amplifier to cut out the external noise. There's none of that. This is kind of like lo-fi noise isolation, i.e. they've got really nice padding that fits your ears well to keep everything outside where it should be. So the isolation is as good as you could expect from any headphones like this. They're going to last you a long, long time. And finally, I'd like to mention, just the company seems to be genuinely over the top in the way it looks after people, replacing bits that break, answering queries about them and so on. And if you're going to spend this amount of money on headphones and become a fan rather than just an owner, that kind of stuff matters. You know, you want to be in with the brand that's looking after you. And they seem so far to be looking after everyone I've spoken to who's bought them or had a problem, had an issue, had to talk to them. The company have been on top. I really like them. They're the V-Moda Crossfade M-100 headphones, and they're available now.